I've been talking about this immigration issue, and it's finally here. They're not sweeping it under the rug on me. I'm gonna know about it when I start seeing it out here on my streets. So let's go ahead and go over this. This is John Williams. He does a lot of looking into things.
Now costs nearly 30% more to hire an American than it will to hire an asylum seeker or migrant.
Policies favoring immigrants over Americans.
Tyson laying off 1,200 workers after closing its pork factory in Perry, Iowa, only later to announce 52,000 jobs for migrants.
Thanks to something called the Work Opportunity Tax Credit, which will allow companies, both small, medium, and large, to write off nearly $10,000 per year per hire of a migrant.
Now these people from the future are showing up and offering to do the same.
It took our Democrats and Republicans in the House of Representatives to craft that bill to let these immigrants work. So, if you're a business owner, guess what? Your hiring issues are over. Almost every business I've worked in, every job I've had since 1997, we were always understaffed. Might not have been in my area, but the whole business, we just needed more people. So, teach their own.
Work for next to nothing. They took our jobs.
That is just
the company's excuse. Migrants are getting the jobs that Americans don't want. A human resources executive for the company telling Bloomberg the migrants have been, quote, very loyal.
Foxman is reporting on how meatpacker Tyson Foods is capitalizing on this inflow. And Simone, this is one of the stories that really got my attention this morning on the Bloomberg terminal. We know that critics of the White House talk about New York City migrants as illegal, but your story actually points out that they have work authorization. Walk us through.
Thank you, Democrats and Republicans that control the society I have to live in. Thank you for this. Because honestly, as a frontline employee, most of my life, like, I need help. I am so tired of my boss coming to me like, hey, Mark, sorry, but can you do this too? And I'm like, but why? I thought Jimmy did that. Well, Jimmy's not here no longer. So, yeah, thank you. And then they scuttlebutt off. So tired of that. But I don't like the way they're doing it, because listen to how awesome the goodies are for business owners. And it doesn't matter whether you're small, medium, or a large business. You can file for this for every immigrant that you hire. Oh, I love these numbers though. But I want you to observe. Look at this human resource department lady from Tyson. You see that shit-eating grin? You see this shit-eating grin? Ask somebody that knows about it. She is so... At this juncture in this meeting, I believe she is thinking this is going to be the hardest interview I've ever had to do. Trying to make what they know most of us don't want them to do sound wonderful. She literally knows she's duping anybody that watches this on Bloomberg. And that whole part of the shit-eating grin, she knows she's getting paid a lot of money to do it. To dupe everybody. Oh, I love this stuff. But let's see what she's got to say.
What that means.
So these are asylum seekers or people applying for a very similar temporary protected status. So they apply for asylum and then they wait. But that application for asylum starts a ticking clock. And so most of them will have work authorization within 6 months. That said, they may wait for years for their very first immigration court date. And it's a good thing, frankly, for them to be able to work.
That's what you call a broken judicial system in our country, folks. 2 to 3 years before they even have their first court date?
Doesn't mean that they're on social services provided by New York City or elsewhere. It means that they have papers, they can go get a job, be documented workers. And this, it turns out, is actually a pretty attractive source of potential workers for places like Tyson.
So why does Tyson have these, what seems to be immense hiring demands?
So it has a turnover rate of 40%, meaning 4 in 10 of its workers every year on its what it calls its frontline workers, the folks who are washing the chicken, looking for bones, packing it up into trays. And very few of them are going to stick around in the long term. So it needs to hire something like 52,000 people this year. It already employs about 42,000 immigrants and refugees, but it sees this part of the workforce as a particularly good one for immigrants. They like to stay. They've often come from very difficult situations, and so the company is really investing in a lot of services for them, whether it's English language classes, certain child care services, to try and convince them, come stay. You may make only $16.50 an hour to start, but this is a good job.
And this is a stable job. I can't get my words out today. So you were at a Tyson fair in New York City not so long ago where Tyson was basically making this pitch. What did you observe when you went there?
Yeah, so this is a fair put on by Tent Partnership for Refugees. This is a foundation. It's backed by the founder of Shivani. And what they did is they went out, they created a database for these new asylum seekers in New York City specifically. They recorded all their documents. And so Tyson reached out to them. They went through their database. They went through the list, said, you meet the work authorization criteria. You want to relocate. And we think also that you'll meet our physical. So these people would come in. They learn a little bit about the company. And for the most part, Tyson had already gone through their various details of their application. And so many of them, 17 the day I was there, and then another 70 a couple weeks later, went off to Tennessee to go start their new jobs as Tyson production workers.
So wrap this all up for us. How do these hiring programs play into the larger debate on immigration that's taking place, across our political society?
We said it earlier. Illegal is a very charged term, right? Companies like Tyson have extraordinary hiring needs, and right now there's a shortage. There's 9 million open jobs. This, according to some reporting that Enda Curran and Augusta Saraiva did last week. These companies are going to look for workers as well as they can. They're going to start looking at this potential workforce of people who are here indefinitely with legal authorization to kind of fill those jobs legally. Now, what does this say about the system? Does it create perverse incentives? These are the kinds of questions that we need to asking ourselves. But, if Congress is not able to move forward on this, this is the way things are going. And it looks like programs like this one are likely to become important to how these jobs get staffed.
Yeah, especially given that Tyson needs to hire more people than it has working for it right now, which is a pretty incredible number.
They have 100,000 U.S. workers in this wage class, but if they're going through so many, then yeah.
Foods, for example. They say they're hiring.
Did you hear? She's like, yeah, and we're just going through so many. Sponsored and paid for by Nathan Russell, fighting for an independent Ohio.